Ben is our choir director who will be leading much of the service today. So welcome to Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship, or BUF as we call it around here. I am Reverend Sunny McMillan, and I am the minister here at BUF. My pronouns are she and her. As the familiar Unitarian Universalist hymn says, "Come, come, whoever you are." So whoever you are, wherever you are, whether you're joining us here in our sanctuary today or online via Zoom, welcome. We are so glad you are here. Today is Choir Sunday, if you haven't figured that out by now, and our incredible BUF choir has been practicing a lot for today's service. Before we dive into the music, however, we have a few housekeeping announcements and some results to share from a recent faith survey that we invited folks to participate in a month or two ago. And just hang on to any dirt you brought in for our dirt communion ritual today. We will share what to do with that a little later in our service. And I know it's a little warm in here. I got the AC cranked at about 8:30 this morning, but once bodies started filling the sanctuary, it got warm. So hopefully it will catch up here in a little bit. Please note that the kiddos will be staying in the service a little longer than normal today, and we will sing them off to their classes about halfway through. This was intentional so that they can see what our choir does, they can enjoy the music, and participate in the dirt communion. We have worked with our Director of Religious Education, Liz, to make sure adults with kids have options. So there is childcare upstairs right now. There will be Lego play for for kindergarten and up, and then the pre-K kids will be in their pre-K classrooms. So if at any point you want to take your child up before we sing them off to their classes, please feel free to do so. There's also the wiggle room in the back that is wired for sound, where you can take a kid and they can play quietly. Bottom line, just please take care of yourself and your family, even if that means getting up and moving around to accommodate whatever your needs are. Second, announcements. There is an insert in your order of service with all the relevant announcements, but I just want to remind folks that next Sunday, June 21st, is our third Sunday potluck, bring it ish. And there is a gardeners and garden lovers gathering at Laura Lee's house at 1 p.m. on Sunday, June 21st as well. And I'm thrilled that Ben, our choir director, and Kevin, our former music director, will be presenting on Saturday, June 27th, a choral retrospective to mark our nation's 250th birthday. Celebrating this birthday is complicated at this moment in U.S. history, but in Kevin's words, the songs in the program will help us center our need to find community, meaning, and direction through spirit, poetry, and beauty. Finally, before we invite forward Wendy Howard to speak about the faith survey results, I do have a piece of news to share with the congregation. Michelle Fox, who last fall transitioned from our full-time congregational administrator to our part-time evening bookkeeper, will be resigning from BUF for good on August 1st. Michelle will share more in her own words in this week's midweek update, but the short of it is that she and her sister will be moving out of state to start a new chapter nearer to Michelle's children. So our HR folks, as well as a newly formed hiring team, will now begin the hunt for a new bookkeeper. If you know anyone who's interested, please reach out to us. Stay tuned for details around all of that, as well as a goodbye to Michelle on Sunday, July 12th, following the service. And of course, to accompany our sadness about Michelle's departure, there will be cake. And now I invite Wendy Howard forward to share the recent faith survey results. We debated moving this element to the June 28th service, but this week, in light of the announcement from the Department of Defense that it has eliminated 180 faiths groups from its list of recognized religions, including Unitarian Universalism, it felt timely to take a moment to celebrate our rich tradition, our rich religious tradition, and just how expansive our faith actually is. This administration may not understand or honor our shared value of pluralism, but we do. So Wendy, come on up.
So I'm Wendy Howard. My pronouns are she and her. I first came to BUF a little over 3 years ago, and I felt very good about this place, this community, And since in my experience every UU church is different, I watched and listened to get the flavor of Buff. The minister then was a humanist and did not talk about God. The choir director was Christian, and the choir music was often Christian. I heard the term born-again Unitarian from the chancel. I learned Latin terms for church building structures. I paused in the narthex one afternoon and directed one person to Bible study, then another to Tibetan Buddhist meditation. I heard that some people felt unsafe when Bible references were made in our services. I heard that some people felt unsafe talking about their own Christian beliefs at Buff. I learned of religious traditions that were not taught in my UU Sunday school classes, like Sikhism and the Indian Shaker Church. To make sense of those observations, I wanted an overview of what Buff attendees really believe religiously. So with my friends Tom Nicholas and Natalie Johnson from the Adult RE Committee, I made up a completely non-scientific survey based on one that the UUA had done in 1997. So on a random Sunday in March, we handed out a list of belief systems and asked people to mark one that singly best described their personal beliefs and to add information in the comments section as needed. For example, my own survey had humanist checked, and I could have written in the comments that as a humanist, I am by definition an atheist, and I'm ethnically Christian. You may be thinking, yeah, right, you asked a bunch of UUs to represent their personal beliefs with one check mark? You expected the inheritors of 1,701 years of religious descent since the Council of Nicaea to follow directions? Not unexpectedly, many of you miscreants did not follow the directions, and we pitched all your surveys. The rule-following survey results are presented here in this pie chart. There. Clearly, that random Sunday in March, our largest percentage of rule followers were those who connect to nature and earth-based spirituality. They also wrote some lovely descriptions in the comments about their spiritual experience of earth and nature. Our next largest group was UU only, those whose needs are fulfilled by following our covenant to support justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity with love at the center. We had a four-way tie with agnostics, atheists, Buddhists, and Christians, with humanists just a little bit behind. We had as many atheist rule followers as we had Christian rule followers. If we added the agnostics, atheists, and humanists together, they would account for a larger percentage of the pie than do the nature, earth-based spiritualists. Then, in diminishing order, we had mystics, goddess woman-centered believers, Jews and theists, Sikhs, and other. So we relented some and dug out the non-follower surveys and did another chart that included their multiple answers along with the rule follower answers. This is non-scientific, remember? The largest percentage were still earth and nature centered, but Buddhists moved up to the second largest. And do you know why? Because literally half of the Buddhists did not follow the directions. So the second pie chart includes the Buddhitarians and the many people in our congregation who draw from Buddhism as part of a personally meaningful spiritual path. The UUs only were next, and again, the humanist Christians, agnostics, and atheists were pretty similar percentages. Goddess and woman-centered and mystics grew a little bit, and Hindu and Muslim, which had not appeared in the rule-following pie, are represented here, indicating perhaps that our diversity was better represented in the second pie chart. So now, what do we do with this information? We can share it with our minister, Sunny, to give her an idea of who we are. We could have services that address these beliefs. For example, a service on religious atheism. What are us atheists doing here in church? Atheists. We could have adult RE classes on transcendentalism and spirituality. We could prompt discussions in chalice circles. What forms of spirituality do you personally identify with, and how would you like to see them represented at Buff? Because as a nonviolent, deeply personal religion that jokes about coming to blows during coffee hour over disagreements on the finer points of religion or spirituality, or lack thereof, we rarely talk to each other about it.
Thank you, Wendy, and the team who put together that faith survey. And now, let's take a deep breath, put our phones into worship mode, and deepen into Choir Sunday as the music begins, and I light our chalice as Ben presents a musical chalice lighting.
We, the dust of stars reborn, bring light renewed to our midst. This fire is fresh yet ancient, only now yet always as ever. Bring light into our lives, O fragile flame of beauty. Enlighten our minds and brighten our hearts. Keep warm our fellowship and remind us what is truly real. May ancient stars ever new shine with love in our hearts.
And now I invite you to say with me the covenant printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service gives it life. Celebrating our diversity and joined by a quest for truth, we work for peace and honor all creation. This is our covenant.
Good morning. As it's already been said, my name is Ben Workman Smith. For those of you who can't see me as well as others, I am a 6-foot-tall Native American man with the bottom of my chest length dark brown hair and a ruddy complexion, as it's been said. To make fun of me as a child, my doctor listed my height as 5'12". And I want to tell you that before each one of our songs today, someone from the choir is going to read the poem and say their connection to it. Here is the first.
Hi, my name is Natasha, and I'm going to introduce The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. I chose to introduce this poem because it talks about making decisions that can affect your future. I'm at a time in my life where I need to actually think through and ask myself, will this choice benefit my future self? Here's the poem. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
the pasture. I'm going out to clear the pasture spring. I'll only stop to rake the leaves away and wait to watch the water clear, I may. I shan't be gone long. Now you come too. I'm going out to fetch the little calf that's standing by the mother. It's so young it totters when she licks it with her tongue. I shan't be gone long. You come too. When I was young, my mother would pile us into the station wagon every other summer, and we would make the pilgrimage from the Bay Area to my grandparents' farm in Illinois. My grandfather and 3 uncles, and eventually all of my male cousins, were farmers. That is, except Richard, who became a veterinarian instead. My uncles' farms were places of wonderment, with sights and sounds and smells that were so different from the city. Uncle Bob's farm was my favorite, and it was also the home of Cousin Bobby's clever pigs. Bobby raised pigs in 4-H. He constantly bragged about how smart they were, and they must have been, since they were always getting out of the pen and into my uncle's cornfield. After yet another wily sow made her escape, I was invited to join the search. I tagged along, following the broad path that she trod through the tasseling corn, with no idea what I might do if we actually found her. Instead, I made a very different sort of discovery. I was seriously allergic to corn pollen. I was ordered protesting back to the farmhouse, sneezing explosively, my nose running like a faucet, and my eyes nearly swelled shut. They eventually did catch the pig, but it took most of the afternoon, and I missed out on the excitement. We spent the hot Illinois summers engaging in one escapade after another. I was always invited to come along, although it was unlikely I would be of any help whatsoever. For me, Robert Frost's "You Come Too" evokes the sort of openness and camaraderie that I, as the city cousin, always cherished.
If you've been around a UU congregation for any amount of time, you are likely familiar with our traditional water communion service in the fall and our flower communion service sometime in the spring. Dirt communion, however, might be a little unfamiliar. Credit for this ritual goes to Joy Berry, the Children and Families Faith Development Specialist at the UUA's Lifespan Faith Engagement Office. For a service like today's, which is all about home and place communicated through the Frostiana song cycle, a dirt communion seemed appropriate. This past week, we invited you to bring a little bit of soil from home, whatever home means to you, to be put in a communal pot. And if you didn't bring any dirt with you, we did provide some in the narthex as you entered today. It's not too late to grab some. In just a moment, Ben, our choir director, and Reverend Jocko Tenhove, one of our choir members and a retired UU minister, will begin to drum. And I will invite everyone who wishes to participate to come forward with your small container of dirt, and you will pour your dirt into this communal pot. We'll give the choir an opportunity to come up first, and then the folks in the pews. After you pour out your dirt into the pot, you are invited to return to your seat and remain in whatever contemplative or meditative silence feels good to you. After all have returned to their seats, we will bless this dirt with words from Joy Berry, and we will save this pot of soil in which we will plant on the final Sunday of the congregational year on June 28th, a small conifer, a recommendation from gardening guru Lisa Moss. This plant will ideally grow over the summer and welcome us when we return again in September, when we can water it using a little of what we collect during the water communion service in September. And now, as Jocko and Ben begin to drum, I invite you to hold the dirt you brought, imbue it with whatever feels appropriate, your energy, a feeling, something you wish to impart as it goes into the communal pot. And let's have the choir come up first as the music begins. And if anyone needs assistance bringing their soil to the front from the congregation, just raise your hand and I will help you with that. And let's have folks come forward using the center aisle and come back out on the side aisles, starting with the rows up front and making our way
steiner Stingenschat, tut aus den Schat, ich steiner Stingenschat, ich geschiss, ich steiner Stingenschat, tut aus den Schat, ah, no, 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 ah, steiner Stingenschat, ich geschiss, ich steiner Stingenschat, tut aus den Schat, ah, no, 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 ah, no.
With our dirt collected in our communal pot, let us bless this dirt as we prepare to plant in it on June 28th. In the knowledge that we are all of us imperfect, but come together in communities of grace, we bless this dirt. In the belief that we humans share an origin and a common destiny, we bless this dirt. In a sustaining faith in human redemption and growth, we bless this dirt. In the wisdom of science that tells us dirt is an important part of our own health and happiness, we bless this dirt. In understanding that all living creatures are connected and have a right to healthy soil, we bless this dirt. In hopes that we all continue to grow together in mind, body, and spirit, we bless this dirt. Amen, and so it is.
The telephone. When I was just as far as I could walk from here today, there was an hour, all still. When leaning with my head against a flower, I heard you talk. Don't say I didn't, for I heard you say, you spoke from that flower on the windowsill. Do you remember what you said? First, tell me what it was you thought you heard. Having found the flower and driven the bee away, I leaned my head, and holding by the stalk, I listened, and I thought I caught the word. What was it? Did you call me by my name? Or did you say, someone said, come. I heard it as I bowed. I may have thought as much, but not aloud. Well, so I came. Now, I chose this poem because the telephone has seen great change over the 110 years since this poem was written. A 1916 phone, we must remind ourselves, would likely be a stick phone with a separate speaking and listening pieces. It would not be portable, so one cannot use it while you're walking. I know for your youngsters that sounds scary, but still. And it would not be located on the windowsill. They usually have their own little alcove somewhere. What from this verse is specific to a telephone? Specifically a phone from 1916. Is the flower the mouthpiece? Is holding the stock holding the earphone? Anything I could find online focuses on the conversation, not on any electromechanical device. According to the literary analysis I saw, the poem is about the conversation. Now, in more recent times, both Bob Newhart and Lily Tomlin have used this idea as a phone conversation as a comedic device. Also, Jim Croce also used it in his song about Operator. This tune is more in line with that thinking than it is with anything about the telephone. But I would also add, given who says what in this poem, the wisdom of car talk. If a man says something in the forest and no woman hears, is he still wrong?
We'd like to now invite the children forward for a special song for them, from the point of view of them.
A girl's garden. A neighbor of mine in the village likes to tell how one spring, when she was a girl on a farm, she did a childlike thing. One day, she asked her father to give her a garden plot to plant and tend and reap herself, and he said, "Why not?" In casting about for a corner, he thought of an idle bit of walled-off ground where a shop had stood, and he said, "Just it." And he said, "That ought to make you an ideal one-girl farm and give you a chance to put some strength on your Slim Jim arm." It was not enough of a garden, her father said, to plow. So she had to work it all by hand, but she don't mind now. She wheeled the dung in a wheelbarrow along a stretch of road, but she always ran away and left her not nice load and hid from anyone passing. And then she begged the seed. She says she thinks she planted one of all things but weed, a hill each of potatoes, radishes, lettuce, peas, tomatoes, beets, beans, pumpkins, corn, and even fruit trees. And yes, she has long mistrusted that a cider apple tree and bearing there today is hers, or at least may be. Her crop was a miscellany when all was said and done, a little bit of everything, a great deal of none. Now, when she sees in the village how village things go, just when it seems to come in right, she says, "I know. It's as when I was a farmer." Oh, never by way of advice, and she never sins by telling the tale to the same person twice. Oh, why I chose that song. My father was such an interesting guy. He really was a frustrated farmer. He was so caught up in the romanticism of farming and plowing that he actually got a manual plow to plow the half acre of yard that he wanted to dig up for a garden. And he did. It was tough, but he did it. And he thought that growing anything he could grow was just something magical. And it took me a very long time, but I finally figured that out too. So yeah, I do it, but I do it in containers.
And now let's sing our children out. The words are printed in your order of service. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To measure the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go. This congregation and its ministries are sustained by your generosity. We will now have the ushers come forward to take our offering collection as Beth and Melanie play. And now I invite you to sing Blue Boat Home, number 1064, in your teal hymnal.
Before the next song, I want to acknowledge a few things. First of all, if you're panicking about time, I'm sorry, suck it up. Secondly, please let me acknowledge Melanie and the Herculean effort she has made so far. Please let me also acknowledge Kevin and my gratitude for him being here today. During the Dirt Communion, the songs that I sang were of my own composition, and they were originally intended for my tribe's dance that happens on the solstices, but I don't think they're for that. I think they are for here and occasions like this. The first one was about the California condors, and I wrote it when they were reintroduced to the redwood forest after 120 years away. And I chose it today because for the first time in 125 years, they were reported to have been seen in Oregon for the first time. They're home, and so are we. The second song I'm not going to tell you about. The songs from the cycle we've sung so far have been really joyous. And the next two in the cycle, one of them Linda will clarify. And then the last one is reverence with direction. Here is Linda.
Can you hear me? Okay. I'm Linda Twitchell, and this is a poem, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, see if I can get this right, that I learned in my family when I was 8 or 9 or 10 years old. And our family interpreted this as a very positive poem about taking a break. It's a poem about being on a journey, maybe the journey of life itself, and taking a break and relaxing to enjoy the beauty and silence of a natural setting when you need to do so. Then, because life must go on, you take up your journey again. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. So obviously, it's safe and pleasant enough the speaker chooses to stop and enjoy the situation. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. If you view this as a story of the journey of life itself, this reference to darkness may indicate the need to pause, to relax during a dark time, a dark hour for you. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there's some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Easy wind and downy flake. The wind is low, conditions are mild, and the snow itself is downy, which by definition means light and fluffy, like the down on a baby bird. This is a calm fall of light, fluffy snow, not the heavy, wet, thick stuff you have to slag your way through. And the setting, the woods, are not threatening either, just the opposite. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but, indicating to me the speaker would like to stick around a little longer, I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep.
I'm Jocko ten Hove, and this last poem and song for us today in this series is evocative for me in large degree because of the word star, which carries many positive connotations in my personal life, as it may for many of you. From earthly locations of meaning in my own development, such as the magical Unitarian Universalist Conference Center 10 miles off the coast of New Hampshire, Star Island, and the Berkeley, California Seminary that significantly shaped my career, Star King School for Ministry, to my penchant for star gazing when I aim my eyes and my heart starward at night and learn my way around the stirring constellations and their celestial relationships, which I do and have done a lot. And it is this latter angle that Frost draws upon in his poem, Choose Something Like a Star, using a single star to represent a fixed, reliable point of focus in times of uncertainty. In particular, he calls upon an image from his influence, Keats, who notably depicted in one of his own poems an eremite, which is an unfamiliar term for a religious hermit, someone who lives alone and apart from the world, observing life from a distance with unwavering attention, usually removed from society to pursue spiritual or contemplative goals. Metaphorically, Keats's eremite appears in Frost's work here to embody the idea of steadfastness and eternal vigilance toward a moral compass, reinforcing the symbolic power of the hermit-like star as a guide and emblem of desirable constancy. Choose something like a star. O star, the fairest one in sight, we grant your loftiness the right to some obscurity of cloud. It will not do to say of night, since dark is what brings out your light. Some mystery becomes the proud, but to be wholly taciturn in your reserve is not allowed. Say something to us we can learn by heart, and when alone, repeat. Say something, and it says, I burn. But say with what degree of heat? Talk Fahrenheit, talk centigrade. Use language we can comprehend. Tell us what elements you blend. It gives us strangely little aid, but does tell something in the end. And steadfast as Keats' eremite, not even stooping from its sphere, it asks a little of us here. It asks of us a certain height. So when at times the mob is swayed to carry praise or blame too far, we may choose something like a star to stay our minds on and be stayed.
Thank you to Ben, to Melanie, to the Buff Choir, and all the musicians who made today possible. One more round of applause for them, please. And now, as we leave this sacred space and go back, each of us, to our own home and place, may we continue to grow in mind, body, and spirit like plants in the dirt. As we extinguish our chalice this morning, I invite you to read with me the words printed in your order of service if you'd like to join me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now our closing hymn, Circle Round for Freedom, as we circle round the sanctuary.
What's up?